Can you imagine getting an alert on your phone that this is unfolding at FSU? You are miles away, but you know that you have 2 children on that campus. That's the reality, as you mentioned, for one College Park family, and it is shaking them to their core. Vigil is expected to start any moment, and as you can see around me, hundreds of students have shown up for that vigil. If you're familiar with the campus, this is right in front of the stadium, right in front of the iconic Unconquered statue, a statue that represents resiliency. West Virginia, for example, this is the 3rd time he's won that state in a presidential election cycle, so these aren't necessarily big surprises. What do you have to say to the alleged victim? I know a lot of the conversation coming up today.
In the middle of a criminal investigation.
All morning you have heard 2 major sounds in this community. First, you hear the sound of rushing water, a quick indicator of what community members are dealing with here. And then you also hear, you may be able to hear it in the background, the roar of these airboats. People were inside of that laundromat at the time. I want to step out of the scene so you can see the damage behind me. We do know that 2 were transported to the hospital. The immigration crackdown across the country being felt here in Central Florida. New at 6, you'll hear from an immigration attorney.
So Randy, you reached out to Canada and you actually heard back from the government.
Yeah, good evening to you both. Canadian officials, as you mentioned, got back in touch with me about why these are going up across the country. They say they want Americans to understand how these tariffs could potentially impact their pockets, and they are targeting red states like us here in Florida. I reached out to every single school district in Central Florida to find out what the status is of libraries, how many books have been pulled. What I found out is this is still an ongoing process. Because of new state law, they are reviewing millions of books this school year. I watched the Seminole County deputy put up this sign today, alerting the community that up to $1,000 is now offered in reward money for information leading to an arrest in this case. And when I talk to neighbors around here, they want someone to come forward because they say this is serious. You have made the decision to go ahead and leave. Talk about what you saw before you left your home.
Water was already rising in the house.
Right now you'll see 2 more cars evacuating this community. In total, I'm told about 40 homes back there, between 80 to 100 people. And so certainly our thoughts are with everyone who is experiencing the impact of Milton.
Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. It's bright and early, but I imagine some people are already thinking about that Thanksgiving leftover plate that they plan to eat. It's 4 a.m. Listen, this is a safe space. Come back, new details now. 2 teenagers from Florida caught on camera. You see it here, dumping trash in the ocean. They've turned themselves in. The video upset a lot of people and it went viral this week. Down to Brevard County today, the community will hold a vigil to honor a youth football coach after he was shot and killed last week. Police say the shooting was about a fight over a girl. Take a look at this damage. You see it right behind me. This is all that's left of Hugo Cafe Tropical. The Ocala restaurant was destroyed after an explosion Friday night. Fox's Doug Luzader is live in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. As you mentioned, I want to bring Governor DeSantis into the conversation. Do you think that this potentially speeds up his timeline? Started off cold.
Yes.
But I was just talking about some 80s, so we can take the coat, put it in the back of the closet or middle of the closet? What should we do?
Middle of the closet's good.
Okay.
Because middle of the week, we're going to see some big changes. Yes.
The mayor used words like disappointing, concerning, and sad to describe today's bombshell announcement. New video shows the moments Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill bonded out of the Orange County Jail. Just hours before,
Regina Hill.
Hill was standing before a judge to answer for the 7 charges she now faces, including multiple counts of exploitation of an elderly person and fraud.
Entered plea of not guilty on all accounts.
Attorney James Smith represented Hill today. He says Hill continues to maintain she did nothing wrong.
Obviously, the allegations against her are serious and shocking, but it's incredibly important to remember one thing. In the eyes of the law, she's presumed to be innocent.
But the Florida Department of Law Enforcement said it has found evidence that shows otherwise.
Mrs. Hill effectively betrayed the trust of her community by taking advantage of a 96-year-old elderly citizen, which is one of the most vulnerable in that community.
State investigators say they've been looking into Hill since February 2023 after receiving a tip from her former aide. Investigators say through witness interviews and a review of financial documents, they found Hill established power of attorney over a 96-year-old woman who she met in her district, allegedly bought a home with the woman listed as a co-owner without her approval, and allegedly spent over $100,000 of the victim's money on things like a facelift, a New Year's Eve vacation in Miami, and spending money on home repairs.
Hill moved into a vacant home that the victim had inherited from her family and then used the victim's personal finances to pay for renovations on that home, while the victim's primary residence where she lived remained in disrepair.
Investigators say the alleged acts date back to 2021. They say the 96-year-old woman didn't realize she had signed over financial power to Hill and didn't realize the extent of the alleged spending until she was approached during the investigation. Now, in terms of how folks are feeling here, I spoke with at least 4 business owners today, and they say they are frustrated because they have lost another day of business. When Seminole Town Center was supposed to open this morning, it didn't. Still no power. 10 a.m. rolled into 11 a.m., into noon, into 1 p.m., and on into 2 p.m. Still dark.
Nobody knows what's happening.
Small business owners like Richard Mason are in the worst kind of waiting game because dollars are on the line. His store, Dear Universe, inside the mall was forced to close for a second day.
How much do you estimate you lost in business?
Probably about $1,000 at least.
He says the business owners haven't heard from the mall's property owner.
Hi, Mike. My name is Randi Hildreth. I'm a reporter with Fox.
And our calls weren't answered or returned today either. Florida Power and Light shut the power off Thursday. They say the mall's owner was behind on bills. They wouldn't confirm by how much or if it'd been paid by late Friday, but in a statement said in part, quote, while FPL doesn't take lightly the decision to turn off anyone's power, we must treat all customers fairly, given unpaid electric bills are ultimately paid for by all our customers in the form of higher rates. Now, this isn't the first time late payments and the mall's name have shared a headline. Last summer, Seminole County said the town center owed close to $1 million in unpaid property taxes. Some business owners say they're nervous to think they may have to close over the weekend, and they're frustrated wondering what happened to the money they paid to rent their shops.
Every month, on time, I'm paying you the rent. And you give me the space, but yet I can't get into my space for now 2 days because you took our money and I don't know what you did with it, but I paid you.
City leaders say they plan to meet with the owners next week in Miami to continue discussions. Seminole County leaders also said that they plan to work with the city of Sanford to help tenants who have been impacted.
The deputy who pulled the woman over for speeding doesn't have 2 jobs. The sheriff's office says that he did put that sticker on his windshield, but he uses it to help solve crimes. The woman I spoke to says that that sticker on that windshield raises safety concerns for her.
Sherry McGuire doesn't deny she was speeding down State Road 528.
Yes, I was speeding. I admit it.
And she understands she got a ticket for breaking the law.
He gave me a ticket for going 64 in a 55.
But she was confused about the vehicle the Orange County deputy used to pull her over.
It was a Chrysler, I think like a black or dark gray Chrysler minivan, and it had a Lyft logo right in the center of the windshield. So it's like, okay, this is weird.
McGuire snapped this picture and shared it with Fox 35. Flashing patrol lights in the car's grill. And if you look closely, a Lyft sticker on the front windshield.
I was just completely shocked. I told him, I'm like, that's lying. That's deceitful. And it's not safe for the general public.
Fox 35 sent the picture to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. They confirmed it's real. We were told a deputy from its fugitive task force was working traffic details Sunday morning and stopped McGuire for speeding. They said, quote, he placed the Lyft sign in the vehicle for more of an incognito appearance in his fugitive role. But to be clear, he is not a Lyft driver. Criminal defense attorney Stacey Felter says law enforcement isn't breaking the law by pretending to work for the ride-hailing service while on duty.
They have every ability to do that and use any tools that they find that are necessary to prevent crimes, to patrol.
Although law enforcement can, McGuire questions if they should. She says she pulled over because she saw the flashing lights, but says the lift sticker made her question if she was being stopped by a real deputy.
There's people that impersonate officers all the time, you know, and so you see it all the time in the news. So how do I know that that wasn't somebody just impersonating an officer trying to pull me over?
So ask the sheriff's office, what should someone do if they are concerned that they're not being pulled over by a real deputy? One, they say call 911. A dispatcher should be able to verify if that person is a real deputy. Two, they say drive slowly and safely to a well-lit public area. And they say number three, ask for that deputy or that officer's name and their badge number. Also for reference, I did reach out to Lyft for this story to get a statement, still waiting to hear back.